Welcome everyone to the L7C podcast NFL edition. We are back, the first NFL episode of 2024. Wishing you guys a happy new year. Hope you had a good holiday season. We have the NFL expert, the producer of the L7C podcast, Mr. Justin Ackendale. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing well. We're here. We made it. We made it 2024. We made it to the end of the NFL regular season. The playoffs start next week. We are here.
Yeah, and before we get into all the NFL stuff, because there's a lot of craziness that's happened since our last NFL episode, since you weren't able to be on like the end of year podcast, I know you've seen all this stuff. How do you feel that you were up there right at the top of the charts this year in 2023?
Man, it feels good. I mean, I don't worry about that type of stuff. I just put out content, and if the people are fucking with it, people are fucking with it. If they not, they not. I'm still going to be out here doing it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, everyone else, it drives some of the people on here, man, which is good.
Man. I'm going to be running my mouth regardless. If there's football to talk about, shit. I know we got the surveys out. We can start doing some basketball, me and you on here. Like, yeah, there's always something to talk about. There's always a reason for me to be out here running my damn mouth.
So, like I said in the open, Justin, since our last NFL episode, a lot has changed.
Oh, man.
A lot has changed.
Man, you ain't fucking lying. Teams are imploding. Teams that we thought were going to be Super Bowl contenders have clearly shown that they ain't going no fucking where. Teams that we thought were down in the dumps are getting hot at the absolute right times. Like, yeah, the whole landscape is changing right before our eyes, week by week.
Hey, that's why it's the best drama on television. But Justin, man, let's talk about defending NFC East champions, Philadelphia Eagles. Since the last time we have been on, they've had a little rough patch, to say the least.
Shit, more than a rough patch. These niggas have been, quite frankly, horrible. Like, if we're being completely honest, yeah, the Eagles, since we've been gone, they've been 1-4 over the last 5 games, and they just lost to the Cardinals this past weekend, 35-31. They closed the game as 12.5-point favorites. The Eagles blew a 21-6 halftime lead, and they proceeded to get outscored in the second half, 29-10. And I mean, it was just straight domination by the Cardinals. I mean, they held the ball over 39 minutes to the Eagles 20, ran 72 plays, outgained the Eagles 449 to the Eagles 275. Like, it was just a bad collapser performance, and this has been a theme for the Eagles, man. Like, they went in they played that game against San Francisco and got ran. They lost to the Cowboys and got ran when they came to Dallas. They lost that tough game to the Seahawks on that Monday night game when Drew Lock had that comeback. And with all of these losses and just overall just not executing and not playing well, the Eagles play themselves out of controlling their destiny for the division. They are locked into the 5 seed right now. If the Cowboys win this Sunday against Washington, the Cowboys win the division. Eagles are the 5 seed, and they have to go on the road in the playoffs. And it's just wild. I mean, throughout the season, the Eagles have been, squeaking by, not really dominating teams, but I didn't expect them to really fall off a cliff like this and start, losing games. I mean, losing to the Cardinals at this point in the season when, all you had, like, after the Cowboys lost, all they had to do was just win out. And the teams really aren't nothing that they can't handle. I mean, after the Cowboys game, they had a matchup against the Seahawks, who are beatable. They lost that. They got the win against the Giants, and then they just lost to the Cardinals, totally getting outplayed the entire game. Kyler Murray doesn't throw that pick 6 in the game. Oh my God, this game looks a lot more ugly than it actually was.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, once they hit that back end of their schedule, it was the hardest part, from that first Dallas game to Kansas City to Buffalo to San Francisco to Dallas to then Seattle. I mean,
and they got through they got through the hardest parts of the hardest parts of that schedule, beating Kansas City, beating Buffalo. Well, actually, it started with the first game against us, which they won, and then they beat Kansas City, they beat Buffalo, and then everything just went to shit against the 49ers. They get spanked 40
2-19.
42-19, lose to Dallas 33-13, and then get dominated by the Cardinals. I know they only lost by 4 points, but the Cardinals dominated them. They were doing anything they wanted. The defense has been horrible. They've given up 401 points this season. That's 29th worst in the league. Like, the defense is completely falling apart.
Yeah. So I guess right, and it looks like their offense, it just looks like they're just not clicking anymore. Like, it's obviously not the same Eagles team as last year. I mean, scheduling and all that stuff, but
damn, they're not the same as the beginning of the year. Remember at the beginning of the year, AJ Brown was going off. He hasn't seen the ball. He's mad.
Yeah, there's reports saying that he's mad now, which is never good for a wide receiver, and never. But something just happened. They're not the same. But we've also watched a whole bunch of football too that you can get to the playoffs and it's a completely different game.
Yeah, but I don't see it with this team. Not the way that they've been playing the last month. The last month at this point. Like, I don't see them turning it around. You think you're gonna go up in the San Francisco and beat them on the road? If they do get past, well, all right. For argument's sake, let's just say the Cowboys win, and all right, they play the AFC South. You think they're gonna beat Tampa? Or actually, if it's Tampa, I don't know, but I think they can beat the Saints or the Saints or the Falcons if they somehow get into the shit. But you think they're gonna win in Dallas or win in Detroit? I don't see it the way they've been playing.
I don't either. I don't see it at this point in time. And if I were to financially put money on it, I wouldn't pick the Eagles right now. But man, we've seen so many teams just go bad at the end of the year and just get into the playoffs and just get hot.
I mean, yeah, the NFC is the weaker conference. It is the weaker conference. The Eagles do have pedigree, but they have not shown it. They have been bad and shit. Even their game against the Giants were in that bitch and scored 25 points against them. Tommy DeVito, like.
Oh, I agree. It's just because they've been locked into this. They've been locked in the playoffs for a minute. They're at the 5 seed. They can't get any lower than that. So they are going to play the NFC. It's almost like the roles have completely reversed from last year. Because Dallas was locked into that 5 seed spot. They played the Buccaneers. Philly may beat the Buccaneers, and they'll have to go to San Francisco. It's almost the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Almost to the T.
Yeah, you're right. If the Eagles do win their playoff game, and no one gets upset, none of the division winners get upset, they're going to San Francisco.
It'd be the same exact thing. I don't know, man, because like we'll talk about, in which I am going to bloviate about, shout out to Stephen A. Smith. 49ers can be got when you whoop their ass. I mean, so let's just. I mean,
that was 49ers ran into a buzzsaw too. But yeah, we'll talk about the team who did that a little later. But yeah, I mean, I don't really see anyone in the NFC that can do what the Ravens did to them, though. And I guess. I just said that, but I guess if it's going to be anyone, it would be the Eagles. I mean, at their core, they're a tough run-it football team, but the way they've been playing, some of the mistakes, fucking Jason Kelce, a couple of those games, making critical false start mistakes, just mistakes that you wouldn't expect a veteran like him to be making.
No, I agree. I just feel like that team now, something like AJ Brown, something's wrong in that locker room. And they need to figure it out before the end of this week.
Well, shit, I doubt it gets figured out before the end of the season. They talking about these motherfuckers have been so bad, and these fans in Philly are so goddamn crazy. They're talking about I'm firing Sirianni.
That's absurd. He just took you to. I know the fans of Philly are wild, but he just took you to a Super Bowl.
What?
Let's pump the brakes there. He literally was just in the Super Bowl, and it was one Jalen Hurts fumble away from winning the Super Bowl. So,
but god damn, I just didn't expect the Eagles to fall off a cliff like this. I know, but in our last podcast, we previewed that first game, the second game that they were going against the Cowboys, and I said, the Cowboys are going to get them this time. But I definitely thought that they were going to end up winning the division still, because the schedule was so weak down the stretch. They got through the toughest part. of their schedule and then collapsed. Simply collapsed the rest of the season.
I
Honestly
think
insane.
I do always think it's funny these past couple weeks of talking about the Eagles and how bad they've been playing, which is true, but the Eagles sound to me like they're the worst 11-5 team in NFL history. Like they're still 11-5.
I mean, yeah, they still 11-5, but we talking about the playoffs now. Like that, they clinch the spot. They gonna be in that bitch. They were just in the Super Bowl last year. Like they expecting to get back to that bitch, or at least close to that. And they look like a first round exit right now. And if it's Tampa Bay, they might pull that shit off.
I mean, I'll say it right now. I mean, I think both Super Bowl teams from last year are looking like first round exits. So
yeah, the Chiefs are definitely shit. You were on it before me. The Chiefs were fucking in trouble too.
But there was another shellacking with the Eagles. There's another team. The Baltimore Ravens, they played the Dolphins just of recent. They won, kid you not, in 56-19. Yes, Jalen Waddle didn't play, but he was not scoring 40-something points by himself. I mean, back in November on the OSU Michigan pod, the Super Football pod with Byron and Cedric and all them, when we talked about the Chiefs and the AFC stuff, I said the Chiefs are not the best team in the AFC. I said it's the Ravens. Watch out for the Ravens. And ever since Christmas, now the whole world has finally followed suit. And here we are. They destroyed the 49ers, who everyone thought was invincible, and they destroyed Miami. Like, you want to talk about opposite of the Eagles? This bird is clicking, Justin.
I mean, since Deshaun Watson's last game, week 10, where the Browns beat the Ravens 33-31. Ravens been on a 6-game winning streak. They were on a 4-game winning streak before that. They beat the hell out of the third seed in the NFC, the Lions. They beat the shit out of the Jaguars, who they're leading the AFC South right now, but they've fallen off too. And then it all accumulated on Christmas with that game against the San Francisco 49ers. And that put the world on notice that that was the game for the MVP before Tua and Lamar this past weekend was for the MVP. And Lamar's numbers weren't really that great in that game, but he was clearly the best player on the field. He was giving fits to the 49ers. They couldn't tackle him. He made the plays when he had to make the plays. And it was the same thing this past Sunday against the Dolphins. Lamar Jackson probably played one of the best games I've ever seen him play this past Sunday. The Dolphins led after the first quarter 10-7 that game, and then for the next 3 quarters, the Ravens outscored them 49-9. Yeah, that's not a fucking typo. From quarters 2 through 4, the Ravens outscored them 49-9. Like I said, Lamar Jackson was incredible. He was 18 for 21, 321 yards, 5 touchdowns. One of the plays, he threw a 75-yard bomb to Zay Flowers in the second quarter. There was another play where Odell Beckham made one of his signature one-handed catches on the sideline. He was just comfortable in the pocket, saw the field well. I mean, the Dolphins really couldn't do shit with this man. They absolutely could not do a goddamn thing with him. The Ravens defense was excellent as well, limiting the Dolphins to only 2 touchdowns and a couple field goals. It was just a huge statement win for him. Now we're all doubting Miami. We've seen the story of Miami before. When they play the good teams, they do not show up, and shit like this happens to them. And with the Bills winning their game against the Patriots this week, it sets up them to be in a winner-take-the-division game this week, hosting the Bills. And like we said before, on Christmas Day, the Ravens put the whole NFL on notice by doing that shit to the 49ers. They absolutely dominated them. Brock Purdy had his worst game as a pro. And if you have any doubts about the MVP anymore, like, it's over now. It's absolutely over. Lamar Jackson is winning the MVP. Last time I checked the MVP odds, it's minus money, so you missed out on it. Like, it's Lamar Jackson's MVP, and the Ravens have clutch home field advantage. They're number 1 seed in the AFC. And now it's time for them to prove it in the playoffs. Now it's time.
Yeah, I really don't have any much more to add to that because beginning of the year, we said when everyone was obviously healthy, this is probably going to be one of the most, if not the most competitive AFC we've ever seen. Everyone talked about obviously the Chiefs at the offseason, Bengals, Jacksonville, the Bills, obviously, because everyone loves the Bills. And no one really mentioned the Ravens. But then if you actually like sit and watch the Ravens, and if you watch tape, and I'm obviously we are not sponsored by them by any means, but this is a
Oh
great
wow.
reason to have NFL Plus because that shit is really good when you actually watch these games. And you can rewatch them. You look at their three losses, Justin. They lost because of their own errors, man.
Yeah, this team only beats themselves. That's why I honestly had questions about them because I thought that's what they're going to do in the playoffs. They're going to find a way to beat themselves. I mean, they have losses against the Colts, who are in playoff position. They got a chance to win and get in this week. They lost that game to the Steelers in week 5. That was just wild that they should have won. And they
AFC
lost.
North matchup. You
Yeah,
throw those out the window.
yeah. I mean, I'm not holding it against them. I mean, they only got 3 losses in the year, and 2 of
Mm-hmm.
them were in division. So
Yep.
I'm not holding that
All
against them.
three to winning teams, and one of them, the Browns, have already clinched, and the Colts and Steelers are fighting for playoff spots. So that's why I was just like back then. I was just like, man, I'll tell you, like, just watch this Ravens team. Like, they could really, they're gonna cause some issues, and here we are, and now everyone's on the Lamar thing, which is great. And I also with the 49ers thing, it couldn't have happened. Well, for me personally, it happened at the absolute worst time because it cost me a fantasy championship. But from the Purdy train, it couldn't happen at a better time because I honestly was getting sick and tired of people thinking this dude was like a top 2 quarterback in the league. It was starting to get really annoying.
First of all, I never fucking thought that bullshit. I thought the dude was good. You know, he's on a stacked team. He delivers them the ball. Like, he does good for that offense. But no, I didn't think he was like,
Yeah.
a Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson type of talent,
Oh
carrying the
yeah.
team type shit.
Yeah, but we saw when he loses one of those talents, the team is completely different. We saw them on that 3-game losing streak.
Yeah. And shit, the Ravens haven't lost 3 straight games all season.
Yeah.
They've been the most complete team throughout the regular season of the playoffs, and now they get the who they got this week. They got the Steelers this week, so they can get 2 weeks of rest. I don't know how they're gonna approach this Sunday because having 2 weeks off, you might
They
come out a
actually play
little.
this. They get the Saturday game.
Yeah, they get the Saturday game, so that's
Mhm.
even they might even get 2 weeks and a day off.
Mhm.
So that's nice. So hopefully anyone who has lingering injuries, they can get healthy, and yeah, the Super Bowl champs going to go through Baltimore. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. The road to the Super Bowl is he's
yeah,
going through Baltimore. The only thing with the Ravens is the last time, obviously, this was 2 years ago, whenever when they no before the Chief Kingdom shit started, but when they had the number 1 seed last time and they rested everyone, the next when they actually played, they got their asses whooped. So obviously they're going to rest some people, obviously, but they got to make sure they keep that edge because sometimes rust really hurts these teams. I don't know what the
yeah.
hell they're going to do at practice to keep the edge, like, but they got to do something.
I, I think their defense is way better than it was back then when the Titans ran all over them because
Mm-hmm.
it was the Titans who did that shit to them. But yeah, I think they're going to be fine. Obviously, the key guys aren't going to be playing. Lamar Jackson, Ronnie Stanley, those type players aren't going to be in the game, but on Sunday. But yeah, whatever they can do to keep the edge up, stay loose in this game, like they need to do. And I think if they end up playing the Browns win their first game in the playoffs, and it's a Browns matchup, they'll be ready to play the Browns for sure.
Well, I even think the people who are going to be playing this game, they're going to be ready to play the Steelers because you have the opportunity to stop your hated division rival from even having a shot of getting in the playoffs.
That's also true. So yeah,
They're going to be the players playing are going to be motivated.
absolutely. And Tyler Huntley is probably going to be starting quarterback. Like, he
Yeah,
started the playoff game last year, and he does not suck.
that is true.
I
And
think he can definitely get a win against the Steelers.
they were one. He fumbled at their goal line, and the Bengals ran it back. They were one play away from beating the Bengals last year in the playoffs.
Yeah, they for sure almost won that game in the playoffs. So Tyler Huntley is not a slouch for this game on Sunday against the Steelers. The Steelers are going to have their hands full, even with some of the Ravens backups playing.
Hey, you want to talk about things have changed, man? Just to the Steelers again. Mike Tomlin, another winning season, and ever since now that Mason Rudolph's been in here, Pickens in the offense is clicking. And if the Steelers' offense is clicking from a Ravens, you don't want that team in the playoffs because you already know what they're going to get with the defense.
Man, calm down. If the Steelers find a way in, they ain't doing the goddamn thing.
What?
I love Tomlin. I love him, but Mason Rudolph that quarter, no, nope. I won't stand for it. I will not stand for it.
Defense literally travels, and they have T.J. Watt.
I won't stand for it. Nope,
okay.
Not the Steelers.
Okay,
I can't get on board. I can't.
If they get 7, would play. If Miami wins, you don't think a Steelers defense would mess up the Dolphins?
I think Miami will destroy them if they get a Steelers matchup at home.
I don't think Miami's in the position to destroy anyone. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, man, I don't think it matters because the year the backup quarterbacks, most of the quarterbacks in the playoffs are backup quarterbacks.
I'm telling you, this is the Ravens' conference to lose at this point.
Well,
at this point, from what they've shown, like it gotta be them. And for the love of God, I can't watch the Steelers Super Bowl. I'm sorry. And the Steelers are going to need help to even get into this motherfucker anyway. We're going to go through all the playoff scenarios later, but I think they need help anyway. It's not like a win-in situation. Yeah,
they do need help, just like last year. I will say from the last time that we talked before Christmas, because God help, because the Steelers, they're the ones who really eliminated the Bengals, really, because they beat the Bengals and everyone thought the Bengals were going to win. So God helped the Bills because everyone who had a tiebreaker in front of them lost. And they are winning at the right time. But going to a big matchup, speaking of the Bills, Dolphins, Bills. Last time was 48-20. The Bills destroyed them. This was week 4. Winner, it's funny how life changes because last time Dolphins were like the 1-2 seed. Bills were the 10th seed at our last time of recording. And again, like I said, people lost in front of. Now they're the 6th seed. And if they win, they're the 2 seed. Justin, again, it is crazy how life has changed. And when teams lose in front of you and you keep winning, things happen.
I say this in the group message all the goddamn time. The NFL is bullshit. It is bullshit. What you just said about the Steelers, even though I totally dismissed it, no, it won't happen. It could very well happen. It could very well happen. The Steelers could be the wrong team they can be the wrong team for somebody and get them got in the playoffs. You're absolutely right. But since we've been gone, the Bills have been 4-0.
Yeah.
Wins
they were
over
the 10th seed, man.
they were the 10th seed when we won our little hiatus for the holidays, and they got wins over the Chiefs.
Their Super Bowl every year.
Destroyed the Cowboys. I mean, James Cook went off that game.
Made no sense.
Oh, stupid bullshit. The NFL.
Never thought she'd lose a game with Josh Allen throwing under 100 yards, but that's all right.
Yeah, wild. And the Chargers and Pats, who are dumpster fires, but and then since we've been gone, the Dolphins, they've been 2-2. They got 2 decent wins over the Cowboys and who's the other team that the Dolphins beat? Oh, and the Jets. So yeah, the Cowboys win was a good win. The Jets are whatever. The Bills are arguably the hottest team in the NFL right now. The Bills have won 5 of the last 6 matchups against them. Obviously in week 4 that we just talked about, and in the playoff game in Buffalo. Even though Miami with their 3rd string quarterback almost did that shit. The Bills defense, after losing to the Eagles, have only been giving up 17.5 points a game. In the Miami's defense has been playing well too. Aside from that Ravens game, they only held the Cowboys to 20 points. Josh Allen hasn't been a turnover machine, but a lot of that has been him running the ball and James Cook getting loose on the offense. I know since we've been gone, the Bills fired Ken Dorsey. That was after the Eagles game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they fired offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey after the Eagles game. And the offense has been playing. I mean, I don't know. They've been playing better. They were still a top 10 rated offense with them. They've just been playing better complimentary football,
Mhm.
in my opinion. And yeah, the offense has been supporting the defense. And I think the combination of James Cook and Josh Allen and them running the ball has coincided perfectly with the Bills receivers haven't been doing shit. Stephon Diggs, and I had this man in fantasy in one of my leagues, has not been going off. Gabe Davis is hit and miss. So it's nice that the Bills have had a running game to fall back on, even if it is mostly Josh Allen. But James Cook has proven that he's a good back, and I just think the combination of that run game is going to be too much for the Dolphins. It's going to be close. The Dolphins are definitely going to show up after getting their ass beat like that against the Ravens. I mean, they have to. But I think the Bills go down to Miami and get the win and win the division.
Yeah, I think the Bills do too. And then the Bills Super Bowl hype train reignites, and people are talking about a Ravens Bills AFC Championship game. That's
I
what I
mean,
see.
it's setting up that way. I mean, I think I believe in the Bills a lot more than you know, Cleveland, Jacksonville if they get in, Texans if they get in, Indy, the Chiefs. Obviously, I can't put any stock in the Chiefs anymore. Like they just don't have it. So yeah, that's what it's looking like if chalk happens.
Yeah,
I know the Ravens going to be there though. I think the Ravens going to be in the AFC Championship bare minimum.
we'll see. But yeah, I think the Bills win, and then Dolphins. They'll probably. I mean, they're probably going to be a first round exit too.
Yeah, we'll see, But yeah, I think the Bills will on Sunday, and the Dolphins are going to have to go on the road, and probably going to be Kansas City.
Yeah, which Texans at Colts, both AFC South. If you would have told me at the beginning of the year that the AFC South would be this competitive with the Texans, Colts, and the Jacksonville Jaguars, I would have thought you were crazy because after what I saw the Jaguars do last year, come back from basically 30 points, win a playoff game, go toe to toe with the Chiefs, I would have told you it would have been easy money for the Jags. Jags have been sliding. CJ Stroud's extension, and the Colts, man, one of the surprising teams of the year because they lost their top four pick, Anthony Richardson, like in the first two games, and they're sitting here 9-7. And both these teams are fighting for this, not just a playoff spot, the AFC South.
Yeah, so Texans have the easier path. They just got to win this game and they win the division.
Which is
And
wild.
and the Colts with a win, they guarantee themselves a wild card spot. And if Jacksonville loses on Sunday, this game is the nightcap on Saturday. They win the division. So yeah, I mean, kudos to the Colts, kudos to the Texans, two rookie coaches, Shane Steichen with the coach, D'Amico Ryans with the Texans, like awesome jobs. The Colts are 3-1-1 over the past 5 matchups with the Texans. CJ Stroud's probably going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. They have Will Anderson on that defensive line, who's been.
I actually don't know about that. About CJ.
Win the Offensive Rookie of the Year. He
Between
gets in
him and Puka.
Nah.
Puka's 17 yards away from breaking the most rookie receiving yards in history.
They probably should give it to Puka, honestly, but
I know.
I think they're going to give it to the quarterback.
I don't know, man.
Puka like that too. I forgot that. I forgot that motherfucker was a rookie. Yeah.
Why do you think the shit? That's why the Rams surprised, like him and Kyron Williams, or what brought the Rams back?
Man, Kyron Williams.
Like we'll talk about the
that boy
They're
a dog, man.
dangerous. They're dangerous.
That boy is a dog. But yeah, like you said, Anthony Richardson went out early in the season. Minshew's been decent as a starter. He's been riding the ship. They've been getting wins. And the Colts defense is a little suspect. They give up a lot of points, but I think the Colts are going to win this game at home against a rookie. Minshew can get into the playoff. I think the Colts win this game.
This is in Indianapolis. That crowd is going to be rocking. Indianapolis, I actually watched, I think it was during Christmas week when I was actually up there, where they shot themselves in the foot when they lost to the week. I mean, you like them, but to Atlanta, where they should have won that game and really messed up their playoff chances. But
I fuck with the Falcons, but they are not good.
no, they're not. This is tough because it's in Indy, but if CJ Stroud's playing, I think CJ right now is better than Gardner Minshew. And I think the Texans would actually win, and they'd win the AFC South, which winning the AFC South after all of the turmoil from the Deshaun Watson stuff these past couple of years with the rookie quarterback. That, which I think this one is a real. I don't know who's going to win Coach of the Year. I really don't, because I think there's a lot of coaches who deserve it, but
man, give that shit to Stefanski again, man. Give it to him again. Give it to him again at this point.
But I agree. But to me, a 10-win Texan team with a rookie player, that's tough to deny.
Hey, shit, he was out 2 games with that concussion. They won a game. They won a game with Case Keenum too.
Yep. Hey, it pays to have an experienced veteran backup quarterback. But Stefanski too. Stefanski, you can make his case because 29% of his salary cap is hurt. 29%.
He's played 4 quarterbacks. 4.
Mm-hmm.
4. And, shit. Who knows how good they would have been if they would have, if Deshaun Watson would have stopped playing sooner?
Well, like I said it a long time ago, one of the pods, I was like, what was really the real difference when Deshaun went out about quarterback play? Because he wasn't spectacular. He had that one game.
No.
It was Nick Chubb was a bigger injury to me than Deshaun Watson.
Oh, for sure. And then that Jets game, they had so many guys out.
Mm-hmm.
It absolutely destroyed them.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely destroyed them. So yeah,
I don't know what's defense like. I don't know how this playbook, because when Deshaun was playing, it didn't look the same. And I'm not saying Joe Flacco is better than Deshaun, absolutely not. But they opened I don't know. And Njoku is, you're like, oh, he's like a top 10 tight end now.
I just think at this point, at least right now, Flacco was able to just push the ball better down the field. He was able to, make the reads cleaner and, just be more productive in the offense than Deshaun Watson was at that point in time. Obviously, we're not saying Joe Flacco better than
no,
this is Deshaun Watson, as a player, but, he was what the Browns needed at the right time.
We're seeing freaking Amari Cooper get 200 plus receiving yard games. Like, what?
Yeah, I mean, he's throwing bombs. He unlocked a different aspect of the offense where they can go deep. And if there's one thing about Joe Flacco that we all know, that motherfucker has a cannon. He can throw the football deep.
And but like you said, Justin, though, which is the big thing that people need to get with Flacco, he's obviously an older quarterback. He came in, like you said, at the right time, later in the season. If Joe Flacco had to play the whole 18-game schedule,
right,
this would have fizzled out real quick. But since he came in so late and he's fresh, there we are.
Yeah,
because he wasn't going to take a whole 18. No way. It would have been
no way he will stand those season. But yeah, and then I'm also back to what we were originally talking about, Texans Colts. I'm also taking the Colts because we know they have no bullshit. It's just one of those picks. I mean, obviously everyone's going to be picking the Texans. Mm-hmm. Everyone's going to be on the CJ Stroud train. I'm just bucking that right now. That's why I'm really picking the Colts, if we're being completely honest.
No, I don't disagree. It's just I'm just taking the quarterback in this one. I mean, but the home crowd is going to be a factor.
They're going to be rocking.
Yeah.
When's the last time the Colts been in the play? Well, I mean, both of these teams, but the Colts just happen to have the home game at this time. When's the last time the Colts were in the playoffs? Phillip Rivers, I believe, was the quarterback.
So, yeah.
It was a year with Phillip Rivers when they play the Texans in that first round. Yeah, it was the Texans in that first round. Mm-hmm. So,
but there's a lot. Justin, we're going into, again, last week of the season is this Saturday/Sunday. There's still, in theory, there's a lot of positioning and teams still left fighting for a playoff spot. And if you're the NFL, the TV side of it, you couldn't ask for more, because that means week 18, a lot of your games are important in some way or another.
Yeah. So as it stands, if the playoffs started right
Mhm.
now in the AFC, the 2-7 would be the Dolphins and the Colts, and obviously the outcome of Bills Dolphins will determine that number 2 seed.
Mhm.
Chiefs are locked into the 3 seed. They will be playing the Bills right now, so I'm assuming that whoever loses that game will flip flop. If it's Miami who loses, the Bills lose this game, then it can get iffy depending on who wins. And then the 4 or 5, which I think is pretty much set. I think it's not locked in because we don't know who's going to win the we don't know who's going to win the NFC South.
Mhm.
Jaguars and Browns, and the Ravens obviously have the bye. And then the NFC, if the playoffs started at this moment, the Cowboys have the 2 seed and they will be playing the Packers. The Packers, they're in a winning in scenario, so if they lose, it can get iffy. The Lions will play the Rams. The Rams are locked into a wild card spot, either
The
6 or
NFL wants that one, man. They want
hmm?
the drama of Matt Stafford going back to Detroit.
Yeah, that'll be a nice storyline. So yeah, the Rams will either be 6 or 7 in this. They're locked in,
Mhm.
and then right now it's Tampa, and then the 4 or 5 is Tampa and the Eagles. The Eagles are locked in. Well, depending on the outcome of the Cowboys game, they're locked in 5. And we already went over the Texans. If the Texans win, they clinch the AFC South. And then if they somehow lose the game, they can still get into the playoffs if with a tie and a Jacksonville loss and a Pittsburgh loss. So the Texans need to win.
Yep.
The Texans need to win. They need too much shit to happen. The Colts, like we said, they are in the playoffs with a win, and if Jacksonville loses, they win the AFC South. The Steelers, oh god, this is so much shit. All right, the Steelers can clinch the playoffs with a win plus a Buffalo loss, or a Steelers win, or a Jacksonville loss, or a Steelers win plus a Texans Colts tie, or I'm not even going to get into the fucking ties and shit. So the Steelers need to win. The Steelers need to win and get a Buffalo Jacksonville loss. That's their path to getting in.
Well, they might get the Jacksonville loss. They have just been terrible
They've been
recently.
terrible. And Jacksonville plays the Titans this week. We do not know who's playing quarterback for the Titans, but yeah, they've been bad. I don't know the status of Trevor Lawrence as well. They probably need him to get into the playoffs. So yeah, we'll absolutely see with them. The Dolphins are next, and like we said, the Dolphins will be the 2 seed. If they win, they'll win the division, and if they don't, they're locked into a wild card spot. The Bills win the AFC East if they win, and the Bills can also clinch if Buffalo top. The Bills need to win.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Bills can
actually,
still mess around and not make the playoffs.
the Bills get in. They can if they lose, they'll still get in if Pittsburgh loses or Jacksonville loses. So those losses can get them in. So the Ravens can help them out. The Ravens probably this is not how any NFL team fucking thinks.
Yeah.
But if the Ravens could just not can let the Steelers in if they feel more confident that they can beat the Steelers and the Bills, but this is an NFL. No one's gonna fucking do that shit.
Yeah.
They're gonna play. They're gonna play the win that motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
And then Jacksonville. Jacksonville wins the AFC South if they win, and yeah, they just need to win. They need to win this week because if Pittsburgh wins, they are out.
Yep.
And all right, let's get to the NFC. So with all those scenarios, how do you think the AFC playoffs are going to shake out? What's going to be what are we going to be looking at
Well, we both already picked the Bills, so they're going to be
on
the 2
Monday?
seed. So
Yes.
the Bills are in, which means Pittsburgh is going to be out.
Yes.
We already I picked Houston, and you picked the Colts. So I just feel like I don't know why. I just feel like Jacksonville's going to lose. So Jacksonville loses. They're probably out. Wait, would Houston and Indiana? No. So if Jacksonville loses,
So
who would get the last spot?
we had the Bills winning.
Yep.
So the first two wild card spots are Cleveland and Miami. So it's one spot. It's one
Oh,
wild card
okay.
spot for them
There we go.
left.
That's why. Yep. Yeah. So, well, yeah, that's what I meant. So if the Bills win, they're the 2 seed. Ravens will go to 6. Browns are 5, but there's 7 spots. So who'd get the 7th spot? Is there a way that the Colts and Texans would still get in if the Jags lose?
Oh
Because
shit.
one of them would win the division, so they would take the division spot, and there's still a wild card spot left.
Hold on. So in this see, fuck the NFL for even doing this shit. So in this, all right, we know Baltimore clinched.
Yes,
Baltimore clinched.
1 seed.
Bills will be second in our scenario because we both
Yep.
think the Bills are about to win.
Yep.
Chiefs third.
Yep. And then the AFC, and then the
AFC South winner.
and
So-
you picked the Colts, and I picked Houston. So one of
Yeah.
those two.
And we think I don't know, Jacksonville gonna actually lose, but
I think they are.
Let's just say Jacksonville fucking loses. All
Right. So that would take them out of the AFC South winner.
They'll take them out. I think the Texans might get in then.
That's what I was saying. The Texans or Colts, both of them, because one would be the AFC South champ, and one would be the wild card.
Wait, hold on. I think Jacksonville still might get in.
Really? If they
Pittsburgh lose plus Denver lose plus Houston. Who gets the left?
Yeah, because they said Jacksonville clinches the AFC. Well, they're losing. So anyway, Jacksonville clinches a playoff berth with a tie and a Pittsburgh loss or tie, and Pittsburgh probably gonna lose, or Pittsburgh loses.
Okay, so Pittsburgh loses, Jacksonville can still get in, so they'll be the 7th seed.
Okay, now I'm
Yeah.
seeing it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it says Houston Indy doesn't end in time. That's really pushing the edge there. So 2 AFC South teams they're gonna probably get in. But all right,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Oof. God, so that means if Pittsburgh wins, they're done. Because I still
Jacksonville?
think, yeah.
Yeah, Jacksonville's done if Pittsburgh wins.
Oh boy, they might know their fate.
Well, Jacksonville wins their game, which you don't think they're going to
I
win.
don't think they're gonna
I'm not
win.
sure. I'm just going to go with you because, like we be saying, the NFL is bullshit. So let's just say Jacksonville loses that game. Yeah, Pittsburgh's in. So we got Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, Colts, Texans.
Mhm.
We'll do your scenario because I like it. I like it better if the Texans in too. I just know the NFL be NFLing. So Colts will be that 4 seed. Browns. Actually, I'll have to look at the conference records because I don't know who will be the 5 or 6, but we already know it'll be Browns, Dolphins, and then the Steelers.
Yep.
Wow.
It'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. Just saying on that. That's why this weekend is very, very, very important, man. It's very important. Now you go to the NFC.
All right, the NFC. We got the Cowboys first. They clinched the number 2 seed with a win against Washington.
Yep. Nice, simple, to the point.
Yeah, I think it'll be tough, tougher than the experts think, but I think we do it. We have to. The Cowboys are 8-0 at home, and shit gets scary when they're on the road. So I think the Cowboys get that spot. I think it's safe to pencil them in. We're just going to do that for our scenario right now. The Cowboys are the 2 seed.
Okay.
And Tampa clinches the NFC South with a win.
Yep.
Or actually, they can clinch the AFC South with a win, and they can clinch a playoff berth with a tie plus a loss, plus a Seattle loss, plus a Green Bay loss.
Mhm.
So Tampa needs a win to get in, or their chances are iced.
Mhm.
The The Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons can still clinch the AFC South with a win against New Orleans, and if Tampa loses, so if Tampa somehow loses to the Panthers, the Falcons get in. I don't think Tampa's about to lose to the Panthers. If we're being completely honest,
I
the
don't know,
Panthers
man.
are.
They could have clinched last week and then they laid a dud. And I'm going to say this really, really quick because we haven't really had a chance to talk. They might be my winners for the season, regardless. But since he's been down, obviously people thought they were just going to suck all year. Tampa doesn't suck, man. Like
Nope.
if you actually have watched some of the Tampa games, like the good games, and like what Baker and Mike Evans have been doing down there, like you may be able to hold off on drafting a QB. Like they're doing something down there. I don't know. I don't know how this Todd Bowles is just they've just been quiet and they're 8-8.
Yeah, but you still need something a little better than Baker Mayfield, to get that extra hump. I still think you're in the market for a quarterback. I don't think you need to be replacing him with any quarterbacks that might be on the market, i.e. Russell Wilson. I don't think that is the answer for, quite frankly, anyone.
I don't think you
But
need to move up in the draft though. If it comes to you, it comes to you. I wouldn't use all your assets to go like get someone though.
I agree, unless we talking about, moving to get Caleb Williams or if
Oh, that's
shit,
impossible.
or fuck, if Michael said the real prize is Michael Penix Jr. If he fucking falls to some team that's decent, watch out.
I
Watch
well, I have a
out.
lot to say about him, but that's a whole different podcast for another day. So.
Oh, shit, we can talk about a little bit of college.
We could do it at the winners and losers part.
Yeah, we talk
Because
about a little
I
college
have a lot to say.
because we ain't gonna be on again until after the CFP. So we can definitely do some college right now because that shit is fresh in my mind. Because Monday was a movie. That shit was fun. That shit was fun.
But I just want to give a shout out to the Bucks though, because they have been played well above people's expectations.
Yes, and then the goddamn Saints who beat the shit out of the
For no reason. No.
Hey, division games, man. Division fucking games. And I actually put a bet on Tampa Bay last week because I'm like, I know this is a spot for the Saints to win. I know I should probably bet on the Saints, but I'm fucking done with this team. Like I've had enough. I'm with the Captain Byron. DA should have been out of there fucking weeks ago, but I was telling them like they're just gonna wait till the end of the season. Like, and if the Saints somehow do make the playoffs, do not let that cloud your judgment. You need a new quarterback. You need a new coach. You need to do an overhaul because y'all are not good. Y'all are not good, and y'all need to quit kicking the damn ball. Y'all need to rebuild that shit, please. Like shit. Trade Alvin Kamara. Like, start over for all I'm caring. But with that said, the Saints will win the AFC South if they beat the Falcons and if Tampa Bay loses to the Panthers, and they can still get it. They can still get a wild card breath if if they win and Seattle loses and Green Bay loses. So yeah, the Saints can get in and both of those teams lose. Eagles are locked into 5 in our scenario because the Cowboys are winning. The Seattle Seahawks can get into the playoffs with a win plus a Green Bay loss. And I'm not going to go into the ties. So, yeah, Seattle wins, Green Bay loss, and the Packers clinch the playoffs with a win or, yeah, too many scenarios. Packers need to win. And they play the Bears this week. A hot Bears with Justin Fields.
That's what I was going to say. I don't even think I would pick the Packers to win.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. And oh my god, the goddamn the Minnesota Vikings can still get in this bitch with a win plus a Green Bay loss plus a Seahawks loss plus a Tampa loss, or they win plus a Green Bay loss plus a Seattle loss plus a Saints loss. So it's not over for the Vikings either.
It's really not, which is commendable for them because Jefferson was on IR. They lost Kirk Cousins at the end of the year, and I don't know how the hell they've stayed afloat. Seattle, they're playing in division against Arizona. Obviously, you would say like, oh, Arizona, but you just saw they dissed the Eagles, and Seattle's offense isn't potent. I mean, all their possibilities, all those teams can lose. Like I could see Chicago beating Green Bay. I can see I don't see Tampa losing unless someone gets hurt, but it's fun because these things are still viable.
It's wild. I really don't know if Green Bay's going to win
Oh, I don't either.
because
I actually
yeah,
don't either, which is actually when you brought up Caleb Williams, I mean, we could talk a little bit about that now. That's a problem for Chicago because now what are you really about to do? Because since Justin Fields has been back, they've had a top 10 offense. If Justin Fields, if they win this game, Justin, that weak ass Chicago Bears team, I can't even call them weak ass. They would be 8-9.
and you know what? That is a fucking improvement from last year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fuck. Justin Fields went to the season. What is he like? He only won 5 games. He
Yeah.
only won 5 games as a starter when he wins the season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still in the camp that you still draft Caleb Williams and see what you can get for Justin Fields. Because Justin Fields right now, his stock is sky high. You'll be able to reset that QB clock. I think Justin Fields still needs a fresh start.
I
Get
mean,
him
I
some,
agree. I mean, I 100% agree with you.
yeah.
I've
Get him
been saying it.
somewhere where they actually want him, and start over with Caleb Williams. You got the first pick, or start over with Penix or Drake May. Well, it's going to be Caleb Williams. So yeah, I would start over if I'm them because they you showed that Justin Fields can do it. So you get Caleb Williams in someone that you actually want, and you build from there.
I've on this podcast said for a long time, Justin to Atlanta, and now people are trying to copy my thing. There is actually another team that I've thought of now because we talked about them, how you said they had no chance. How would you like if the Steelers' chance if they were in the wild card with Justin Fields at quarterback?
Oh my God.
I'm starting to think Pittsburgh should make the move before Atlanta.
That would be lovely. The AFC really don't need no more fucking quarterbacks, but the Bears would definitely try to do that. Get them out of the conference too. Yeah,
Because you're bombing that thing I mean, he's doing it to Moore. You are bombing it to Pickens because Pickens has certainly awakened these
I
past
like
couple of weeks.
I like. Hey, hear me out on this. Justin Fields to Washington,
It's got, man,
and they got a top 10 pick that they can trade too.
they do. And it's wild that Sam Howell led the league. He was leading it for big in passing yards, which, I mean, they got some players over there. McLaurin, you could unlock him, like Kirk
Dotson, Brian Robinson. They got some offensive talent. I think the way Justin Fields has played, they put the Bears in a great spot. The Bears have good problems to have, in my opinion.
They do.
You have good problems to have. You have the first pick. You have a quarterback that's going to have value on the trade market. Like, sky's the limit. You can do whatever you want. And I really think whatever you do is not really a bad decision. You can stay with Justin Fields, or you can draft Caleb Williams, the best prospect that we've seen in the past few years. So you're really in a good spot.
Yeah. So Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Washington. I think those would be the top. I really like the Pittsburgh one because God, that AFC North would truly be a movie.
It'll be too stacked. It'll honestly be too much.
So Justin, who are your playoff teams? Who do you think's getting in the NFC?
We know it's 49ers.
Yep.
49ers, Cowboys, Lions, Tampa. Tampa's going to win.
Okay. Eagles will be the 5th seed.
We got the Eagles. We got
the Rams.
We got the Rams, and
so there's only one more spot.
Yeah, I think Green Bay's losing.
So if Green Bay loses,
I think Green Bay's losing. So let me look at these scenarios. All right, so the Saints need a Seattle loss.
Oh, yeah, they need Seattle, and we think Seattle's going to win. So if Green Bay's the only team that loses and Seattle wins, Seattle would take the spot.
I think it's going to be Seattle then.
Okay.
For some reason, I think the Falcons are going to beat the Saints.
Seattle will be a tough out for someone because they just know how to play. But we're gonna find out. We'll see how right we are because this stuff it's cinema, man. Something else that have happened. A team that was actually in playoff contention as of until this past weekend. The Broncos. They did something out of left field at the time. They benched Russell Wilson when they were on their best stretch they've had with him this year. Justin, it came out. Russell said that after they beat the Chiefs, Super Bowl defending champion Chiefs, they came up to Russell Wilson and said, "Hey, push back his whatever clause that he has."
It was a injury guarantee
Yeah,
to like next year or something.
yeah, to push it back. He said no, because they would save the Broncos would save some money. And the final two games, they benched him, and you can't. And everyone knows it wasn't because of play, because dude, that you were literally in the playoff contention. If and now you're not as of this week, and you're 8-8. So Justin, it just shows, man. When it all comes down to it, man, NFL is a business.
It's a business, but remember when they went on that winning streak? I mean, Russell Wilson wasn't fucking playing spectacular. I mean, the defense was, turning the ball over all the goddamn time. And at the end of the day, Sean Payton didn't fuck with him. Sean Payton does not fuck with that man. He didn't want Russell Wilson being a bigger star than him, it seemed like. And the way Russell Wilson was playing, he made it really easy for the Broncos to pull some shit off like this. And Sean Payton, to inflate his ego like this. So I really don't feel bad for Russell Wilson, but yeah, the Broncos are in the hole. They're probably going to cut him when the new league year starts next year, and they're either going to draft the quarterback or go with Jarrett Stidham and pay Russell Wilson to not be on the team.
Like, what was he be like an $80 million cap hit?
Yeah, it'll be $80 million, and he will probably go somewhere else and play for like a $1 million contract, and Denver's on the hook for that money.
Yeah, it's a terrible situation. And the bad thing is the contract ain't as bad as fucking Deshaun Watson. Like, that's the only saving grace. And Stidham's not the answer, so you're gonna have to draft a quarterback. But now there's reports saying, like, from the player side and the Players Association getting, because they have to defend their people. You're gonna have this is what the players are saying, and some players, you're gonna have to pay them more, free agents more, to come there because they don't want to get screwed out like Russell Wilson did. That's a bad taste in players' mouths, man.
Yeah,
Because the game of the goal, especially in the NFL, is to win. You were literally in playoff contention, and you benched because he's better than Stidham. You benched your best chance to win because you didn't want to pay him the money.
I mean, they had to pay him the money anyway. What do you think? Russell Wilson going to give you that money back? Why the fuck would he do that?
He would. He shouldn't. But it's not his fault that he signed that contract. That's the Broncos' fault.
Yeah, I know. Like, some of those people weren't, like, Sean Payton wasn't there. Sean Payton, at the end of the day, Sean Payton don't want Russell Wilson, so he ain't going to be the nicest man to Russell Wilson when he really ain't doing shit. But you were absolutely right. Russell Wilson gave them the best chance to win because Jarrett Stidham is not it. But Russell Wilson couldn't run Sean Payton's offense. Yeah, he couldn't do it. He had to dumb it down for him, and yeah, and like I said, the defense there in that stretch when they were winning all those games, they were playing out of their mind, getting turnovers, playing lights out, and then this shit happened. And yeah, they asked him to do that shit in October.
I'm just saying it's kind of crazy too, because we're saying that he hasn't played spectacular, and it is just funny how bad the Chiefs are this year. Because if you look at Russell Wilson's numbers and Baker Mayfield's numbers, they have better numbers than Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes has not been good this year.
Yeah. I'm just like saying, like, when people say, oh, Russell's been so bad, but then if you just throw a casual, it's like, you tell a casual fan, like, hey, Russell Wilson has better numbers than Patrick Mahomes right now. They're like, oh. I'm just saying on that.
But this is compounding off Russell Wilson's season before. We cannot forget that.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
We cannot, like, he was god awful. Well, he was god awful.
Nathaniel Hackett, that was a whole thing. And I would also say with Sean Payton, when he's talking, Sean Payton's also the dude who approved giving Taysom Hill that Omega contract, which set the Saints back for a gadget player. So we'll see where he goes. He'll go somewhere. Shit, he might go to. I mean, any adequate quarterback who drops into Pittsburgh is going to be a problem.
I mean, at this point, anyone but fucking Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, and Kenny, and who was the other? Because they just went to Mason. oh, Trubisky's done.
Oh,
So like,
Trubisky's dog shit. Oh my god, he's so fucking bad.
and that was the Chicago Bears. They got him instead of Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, we can talk shit about these teams all day about making dumb decisions, but hey, that shit is hard. No one knows who's gonna be fucking good, especially drafting quarterbacks. It is hard.
In that case, obviously you didn't know how good Patrick would be. You should have picked Deshaun Watson over Mitch Trubisky. The dude just came off beating Alabama in the title game. That one was an easy one.
Oh yeah. It was definitely easy.
Patrick's won at 10. That was the Chiefs moving up. They saw something, and then here we are. But Deshaun Watson you should have picked him.
Yeah. Trubisky was good in college, though, but not better than Deshaun Watson. I mean, they played in the same conference, for God's sakes.
Yeah. But now you see, man, like it's bad. When Trubisky gets benched, that Mason Rudolph is balling more than him. Come on.
That's unbelievable. Like, because Mason Rudolph is not good. I want you to make that very known. But shit, he's the only one to get the ball. Fuck you, George Pickens. Shit, I wish he was playing when I had George Pickens for fantasy.
That Bengals game where they were lighting, and Cincinnati was still playing for playoffs like hopes. They were lighting the Bengals up.
I was like, George, finally? Like, I knew you've been this good. Where was this all year?
Need someone to throw it to him, man. All right, Justin. Who are winners and this is gonna be the last winners and losers of the regular season? Who you got?
Oh man, God, winners and losers. Well, shit, I'm gonna take my winner to college, and
okay,
I gotta go with the Washington Huskies.
Okay,
why in the absolute Washington Huskies and Michael Penix Jr. and oh my God. He was deadly on Monday. I mean, just throwing bombs, had all day to throw. Just absolutely dominated Texas. And goddamn, I guess my loser. I think my loser gonna have to be Tampa Bay. Just losing to the Saints like that when you could have clinched the division, could have been resting players this week. Yeah, definitely the Saints. But my winner is Washington. Washington was impressive on Monday. They really were.
My winner is, I'm just going to stick, they're probably going to be both from the same game. Winner is Baltimore and Lamar Jackson, because Lamar is going to get his second MVP, and that's a very rare company to have multiple MVPs, especially in this short a time frame that he's been in the league. And Ravens being the number one seed, and then the loser is just the Dolphins, man. You really could have. This should not have come to the last game of the year. This should not have. You had so many chances to wrap this up, and then you lose the big games, like you said. And here you are now. You're probably gonna lose, and you're going to be the 6th seed. So then that'll give you a first round matchup going to Arrowhead, and y'all don't even like the cold. So
yeah, they can't play in the cold.
So you're about to go there and lose to that team somehow. But yeah, winners Ravens, Lamar, losers Bills. Dolphins. But then just real quickly, obviously we'll be back next week to talk about the college football finals and all the crazy stuff that's happened. But Michigan beat Alabama, and like you said, Washington beat Texas. And you talked about Michael Penix, and I've been on the Michael Penix train all year. I mean, preseason, I picked Washington to win the Pac-12. And it's kind of funny because a lot of people who didn't I don't understand how you didn't watch Washington at all, but didn't watch Washington, and then they saw that game, and they're just like, oh my gosh, this guy's really good. Not saying, well, I'm saying he should have, just because they're like, how did this guy not win the Heisman? He's really good. Why was the voting not close? I'm like,
people don't stay up to watch those games.
You got to. That's the thing. You got to stay up to watch those games. But when you look at Michael Penix, he played in the hardest conference this year. He went undefeated in the hardest conference, and then he just beat the Big 12 champ, putting on a clinic.
I mean, his numbers were he was unbelievable in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 29 for 38, 430 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And just the ball placement, like he throws the ball up, and the receivers just run up under them and catch them and go for yards after the catch. And He can throw it deep. He can throw it short. He can throw it intermediate. His pocket presence is elite. He sees the field. Like, if he wasn't so goddamn injured, this man would be a top 5 pick. It's not between all the quarterback prospects in the that are coming out. He's the best pocket passer. Mm-hmm. He definitely has more pocket presence than Caleb Williams. It's not even close. Yep. Caleb Williams will flush out that bitch as soon as he gets any pressure. So, yeah, Michael Penix, what he did, and then Michigan too. Michigan came out. I mean, and Alabama had all this controversy about them even being in the playoff, and in that third quarter, it looked like Alabama was going to beat Michigan. That third quarter, they had Michigan on the ropes, and then in the fourth quarter, J.J. McCarthy in the offense, and they got him down and scored that touchdown late, and Jalen Milroe just couldn't do shit. Milroe was under siege the entire game, and
he was very under siege. I'm not going to get into that whole thing with now, but I know one of the biggest things was starting quarterback play and all that. Jaden Milroe threw for only 116 yards. He got sorely outplayed by J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
He didn't even have a rushing touchdown.
It wasn't close. And he was starting to get some momentum running the ball, and then he fumbled. And that killed all the momentum for Alabama. And then Michigan won that game despite collapsing on special teams, missing an extra point, missing a field goal, muffing a punt at their 1 yard line that could have ended up being a safety.
Yep. Yeah, it did not need to go to overtime, like you said, if they would have executed. But here they are, man. 14-0 versus 14-0. We're going to talk about who wins next Tuesday because we're going to see it's crazy. You're going to have Michael Penix's offense against that Michigan defense, but then you're going to have McCarthy who it's kind of wild, when he has Jim Harbaugh, McCarthy having the 3 TDs, and he hasn't looked this good since Harbaugh got suspended at the end of the year.
I mean, but this is Michigan. This is a 3-year arc for Michigan, for being honest. After getting destroyed by Georgia the first time in the college football playoff, that game against TCU last year, this is 3 years in the making for them.
Oh yeah,
they on that last drive, Michigan knew they were going to get down there. They've been through this shit before, losing in the college football playoff, and I bet Alabama in that game. And then once it went to overtime, I'm like, Michigan will win this game. Alabama don't got it. Milroe can't do anything. I bet on Alabama and forgot that Milroe can't throw. He doesn't throw the ball good consistently. I forgot about that. I got caught up. He was hot coming into the game, and Michigan was like, "No, not you. That shit ain't about to you ain't about to go crazy on us like you did LSU."
Yeah, you're right. You're right. He was hot, and I think everyone. I know your reason for betting Alabama, but everyone just thought Michigan, it's Alabama, it's Nick Saban. They're going to find a way. They always do. And then you saw that horrendous 4th down play, and you're like, oh, they really lost. If it wasn't for the mishaps, this game wouldn't have been this close.
No, but
that's part of sports.
I'm not even giving Alabama shit for that call, honestly. They couldn't block. They couldn't throw. The only success they had in that game was running the ball. So, what you gonna do? And, Michigan was ready for it. Michigan, they were just outcoached, outplayed. It is what it was with that.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see who wins that national. I'll be very interested because you're either going to see the ultimate crowning for Penix, or this city might burn in Columbus, Ohio, because you'll see 15-0 Michigan national champions.
I'm telling you right now, bet Washington while it's still 4.5. Because Michigan hasn't seen a goddamn offense like Washington for the past 3 seasons. They ain't seen some shit like that. So take Washington the points. Michigan still might win the game, but it's going to be a great game regardless.
Yeah, I just feel like Michigan's they're gonna bully them, man. When Michigan is in the red zone, they're the best team in the country. They have Blake Corum, who, when he's in the red zone, he gets a touchdown, no matter what.
Every time.
He scored every game this year.
It's one of the biggest locks in college football.
Yep.
Blake Corum anytime. But
we'll see.
Penix throwing that ball.
Mm-hmm.
The protection, like Texas's defensive line's good, and they got no pressure all game long. And if Washington's O-line can hold up and Penix can throw darts all night like that, we in for a classic next Monday. It's gonna be a classic. Ain't gonna be no 50-point wins by Georgia in this one. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be competitive. I'll say that.
Yeah, with that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. Make sure you watch the final week of the NFL regular season, see who gets in the playoffs. Make sure you watch the national championship on next Monday because we'll be back Tuesday to review it. That being said, L7C signing out.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.